Hello, Angel. I want you to go to bed with a smile on your face. And I think that we can achieve that together through a simple exercise. We're going to do some reflection on things that make us smile or things that could, upon some deeper thought, make us smile. So I'd like us to start by connecting with our senses. Our senses, the things that allow us to perceive what is happening in our environment. It's through so many different complex processes that we're able to interpret what's going on. But it's something that we share, and that is phenomenal. So let's think about first our sense of sight. We're grounding. What do you see? It doesn't have to be on the screen. It could be even with your eyes closed. Do you see something in your mind's eye? What do you see in front of you? Reaching out. A smile. Maybe light. Make that a little darker. Lighting the way. It's a little fast. Let's do that again. A light lighting the way. This is my if power goes out. Light. It's nice to have. It was gifted to me, of course. I am not that practical, but trying to be. What do you hear, Angel? What is in your immediate surroundings that you hear, and even more distant? Do you hear the whisper of the wind or a howl? Do you hear commotion? Are you in the country? Are you in an urban environment? Maybe you hear vehicles on the road. Or maybe you hear industry. Maybe you just hear a hum or other sounds that you're accustomed to. Take a listen. I like the sounds of nails on objects, really. What do you feel? Picture yourself, if you even want to close your eyes, imagine you exactly as you are, whatever position you're in. If you're seated, if you're lying down, if you're walking, feel your body, where it's connected to a surface, if it's the ground, if it's a cushion, a pillow. What is that like? Are you experiencing ASMR at all? Do you get any tingles? That is your sense of touch being activated. What do you smell? It's okay if it's an absence of smell. You can light a candle. This one is actually, it's a holiday candle. So, what do your holidays smell like? This one's a winter holiday candle. So there's some smells of woodsy smells in this one for the holiday it represented. Do you have a smell that you associate with a special occasion that you can think of? Is it a food, or fragrance, a plant? Place that down. What do you taste? Is it just the roof, the inside of your mouth? Have you been sipping on some tea? Do I have my tea? This is actually just hot water. gifted to me recently. I love this mug. I love butterflies. They're such a beautiful symbol, change, of growth. So I really appreciate this. So the point of engaging our senses, tapping into them, is to become aware and to say, I acknowledge that they're here. And I think starting a gratitude exercise can be effective to start with your senses. It's very easily accessible. If there's something that if you're having a difficult time conjuring up ideas for gratitude, it can be straightforward to think about that which is immediately available to you. Think of your breath. Oh, angel. Your breath can be used for so many things, but think of the fact that you don't have to think at all for it to be there. So today I wanted to discuss origin stories of some of the things that we need the most. I'm not going to get too technical today, but I thought it would be a good practice to think of some of the things that we use on a daily basis that we need in order to be set in motion, to function, to have us operate on the day-to-day. And what would be some things for you? You might think of a pyramid of different things that we need as humans to function. And there might be something that's very personal to you that you need to feel your best, to be your best. I'd like us to think about those a bit. So today I thought of food production, agriculture, the process of having our nutrition coming from its source and how it gets to our plates, to our cups, even to our medical equipment, if that's how you receive your nutrition or have had to. Think about where your food may come from, your calories, your nutrition, your nutrients, your energy sources. It's one of our major sources of energy, food, and it's something that we, generally speaking, need to have on a daily basis in order to operate at our highest performance. And I thought today, it is, I think, a good exercise when we sit and are about to eat or during our meal to be thankful in some way, to think of even if it's just thinking of the complexities behind what is about to take place, the meal, and even everything that happens after your digestion process. How many steps were involved? How much energy and effort, technology, science, and thoughtfulness went behind this act that's about to take place? I think it's really useful. So, think of your favorite thing to eat. Anything. Think of the very furthest way that you can break down that food. What is its source? Where did it come from? If it's a plant, if it's derived from an animal, where did your food come from? You may not know the geography, but I imagine you can picture a seed or an egg. That egg growing into an organism or living animal or plant, or you have a seed growing into a plant. These are some shells, for pasta shells rather. And so if this is wheat pasta, I'm going to try to make it not too noisy. want it to spin here. There we go. So if this is a wheat pasta or rice pasta, the person, the farmer, the individual that grew this crop would have had to till soil, for example. First of all, they have to find land that would be viable for making the food. And then they have to break up the soil. They have to plant the seeds, sow, water. And then monitor. They have to harvest that crop and then transport it. The transportation is so complex, a major step too. Imagine we are able to consume things from all different parts of the globe. I am a diva when it comes to just walking to the market. Sometimes I just think, oh, I'm tired. But just how amazing is it that there, for many of us, are places that we can get in, use our bodies or our vehicles, some sort of transport to get to a place where we can purchase our food to bring home, bring to an occasion, to gift. Going from, imagine how far, unless you live right next to farmland, you, depending on what's grown, there may be monocrops around you where there's lots and lots and lots of one thing that's made. You may have an area where multiple things are made, but there's a chance that the food that you eat on an annual basis as it goes around the calendar comes from different places. And so the fact that these are collected together for us, they are stored and kept as fresh as possible, and then put and stocked lovingly on the shelves for us to be able to pick out. All of this takes so much care and effort and work. And then we purchase our food, we put it in our grocery bags, and we take it home to feed us. And maybe you have some magical recipe that it's about to be a part of, and that in itself is another whole beautiful thing to be grateful for. Just the richness of the food that's there. I think it's an exciting idea to me, because personally I am just starting to learn to cook. I've often eaten for survival. A friend of mine showed me an article that there is a culture that calls a particular healthy eating the food of suffering. And that makes me laugh, because it's a way of eating that I had developed for energy conservation. But it was effective in getting nutrition, and now I'm wanting to branch out and to have some more delicious meals. And mind you, there'd be times where I would eat something that's following a recipe, but I'm ready to step it up a notch. Let's just say that, angels. No more potatoes in the microwave. Well, they can be cooked in the microwave, but I want to step up the creativity a little bit. that was a staple. Potato in the microwave, put some olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and lots of prepackaged spices. Oh, okay. So, to be honest, I have no idea how nuts are grown. I have pistachios here. They're one of my favorite. Love pistachios. They're very, very munchy, and it's interesting to think about where they come from. Who picked these pistachios? Who brought them to my local retailer for me to pick up? I wonder. I brought my favorite spice. Smoked. Depends on how you say paprika. Love smoked paprika. Oh, it is just the god of barbecue. One of them anyways. So delicious. I love it. So think about, even these dried spices. They would have come from a larger plant. Organic. So capsicum, I don't know if that's paprika, but capsicum I imagine comes from peppers. I should have looked that up before filming this, but I imagine that paprika comes from a larger plant, and it was harvested, grown, crushed, and dried, similar to oregano and thyme and sage. Oh, such fragrant, beautiful herbs to join. But spices really just just bring so much flavor and excitement to a meal, don't they? So I think having some appreciation for the additional effort that takes place for spices to come to us. Have you ever grown your own herbs? Have you ever dried your own herbs or spices? It probably takes a lot of care and work, and good for you. I think if you have a house plant, you can acknowledge that it takes regular upkeep. And I like the house plants that require minimal intervention from me. That way I don't feel like a bad plant parent. But if you want a certain crop, a certain plant, it's going to require a bit more tenderness, or it may require a certain level of tenderness and science and routine in order to make that plant become a thriving organism, and later something that we can appreciate visually or by way of eating. So I'm feeling appreciative for all of these processes, for every single step. Although I may not know every single step involved, all of the work and all of the effort and energy and care, and that's being, I guess, funneled into us in a way. So I'm going to choose to think of it that way, that we're receiving energy, not just the energy from the plant itself, but every hand and every organism that passed through. Even picture the soil, that although it's not necessarily a human intervention, soil can take hundreds of thousands of years to get to its nutrient-rich state that it's in. All of the little organisms that played a role in it being the foundation for our plant life, and the plants that feed and nourish the animals that we may benefit from, be it if it's some milk or an egg or a meat. Soil is so important, and the fact that you are benefiting from the ultimate antique. I don't know actually if antique only refers to non-animate or just to man-made objects, woman-made, person-made, human-made. But the fact that you are benefiting from such a treasure is something to be thankful for. Really a treasure. I think treating our soil with respect is something worth contemplating. So even our treats, these are not things that are necessary for our survival, but things that we certainly enjoy. I try not to crinkle too loud. I have my non-sugar sweetened sweets. They're already open. So this is purely for enjoyment, but we often eat for enjoyment, or rather, while we are taking in what helps us to survive, we can experience enjoyment. And sometimes it's nice to have an aspect of a meal that just adds a touch of spice, a touch of interest into our experience. These are super dried because I've left them in the cupboard opened without sealing the bag. It shouldn't sound like that. It shouldn't sound like a rock angel. That is nice and sour. I like sour and sweet and rich. Oh, love really rich desserts. Not too rich, but rich where that first bite sends you into heaven. I think a really good chocolate is good at doing that. I love all kinds of chocolate. I wasn't really a major chocolate fan when I was younger, but as I've grown up, really grown to appreciate it. So that's a lot to talk about food, but we can extend that to other things that we want to take stock of. Our water source. Where does your water come from? How is your water sanitized, if that's a process that takes place? Think of, there's only so much fresh water that's available on the earth. I don't know if it's 3%. It's a small percentage. A lot of that water gets used for agriculture, and the remainder, there are a lot of us. There are a lot of organisms that need to be fed by water too. And we share it. So the fact that we have systems in place to hydrate all of us is so impressive. So not everybody has equitable access to water. It's unfortunate, and I hope that we do better, that we improve. But if you do have very easy access to water, it can be easy to forget when we turn on the tap. Everything that's involved in that, how much time it's saving us and effort. might as well have some combing. I've done a lot of work. Think about some of the things that we can be grateful for. We can expand that beyond pure survival and think about everything that's involved in the clothing that we wear and the electronics that we use. This is a remote for the lights that I have in the background. You can see it changing a little bit. Blue, pink, red. I like that one. Let's keep that one. You know, the battery involved in this had to come from somewhere, and the plastic, the wiring. There's a lot that goes on in this one little remote. We take it for granted now because it's not advanced technology anymore. But the fact that I can just have these LED lights that can change colors and I don't even have to think about it. It's pretty extraordinary. What about our devices? You know, personally, angels, I like to try to extend the life of my electronics. I had been notoriously bad for breaking my screens before, and now I have a pretty heavy-duty case so that I can drop my cellular device anyway from any height. And it was a worthwhile investment, but a lot goes behind our devices. I think it can be worthwhile to think about everything involved and how much these little electronics do for us. But their origin stories can be important. And it might give us pause and appreciation, even if something is not working as efficiently or is the most absolute up-to-date. Still to think, wow, how much different would my life be without this thing? And it's not to say, oh, poor you have all this technology, and I guess it's a privilege to live in this time and era, isn't it? To have all of these things. It's not doing fake pity. We're saying, how brilliant is it that we have these things? Thank you for having gone on this adventure with me, so to speak, for imagining, for entertaining things that we can be thankful for. And today we were focusing on origin stories. Where do some of our most useful or treasured items come from? And so you can think of something also that you treasure. Is it a comfort item, a grounding tool? Is it a piece of tech? Is it a food item? Is it a beverage? Is it a book? A movie? Something that you have in the physical world that you benefit from. Where does that come from? And not just where it comes from, but all the steps that go into that. You don't have to go into the full nitty-gritty or do research by any means unless you want to. I encourage that. I think it's a fun process. But even just to imagine, how does this get into my hands? I think it's a worthwhile thing to contemplate and then to reflect and say, my goodness, this is extraordinary. I am thankful for this. for I think when we see the complexity, we can see just how special it is. And I think that is worth being thankful for. So, thank you, Angel, for tuning in, for grounding. And I hope that you found something that puts a smile on your face when you think of just how